Hi, my name is Haley Dang. I'm a rising senior at Kent Lake High School in Kent, Washington. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm here today alongside Character Strong and the City of Kent to interview some pretty awesome humans about anxiety and mental wellness. Our guest today is Milk, so I'll just have her introduce herself really quick.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to chat with you, Haley. My name is Connie Lim. I go by an artist named Milk, Milck. It's my last name and my first two initials kind of scrambled up together, kind of bringing my family name with me. And I'm a musician, I'm a singer, songwriter, and yeah, big picture wise, outside of what I do, I think the why of what I do is to my passion for healing and my belief that humans are designed to turn pain into power or passion or purpose. Yeah.
That's awesome. I actually didn't know that about your name, that it's kind of mixed up with your family name too. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like keeping my family's spirit within what I do while also allowing freedom to break free from some of the traditional regimens that I grew up with, because I felt like I couldn't really form into a full artist until I let go of my father's expectations, my mother's expectations. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. And just keeping your roots, right?
Yeah.
So I know talking about anxiety and our mental wellness can be really tough. It's not a super fun thing to talk about, but at the same time, I feel like it's really important to break that stigma and have that conversation to better understand each other. So I don't really want to jump into that right away. So I do have a little icebreaker question for you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So my question is, what movie world would you want to live in? Like, is there a TV show, movie where you'd want to like live in their world alongside the characters?
I have two answers. One is there's a show that got canceled sadly on Netflix called The OA, and it's about like near-death experiences and being able to travel across parallel universes and stuff. And it's such an amazing series. It's so well done, and the whole philosophy is doing what your art is with perfect feeling can help you transcend to other worlds and to access other sides of you. So it's really beautiful. So I'd love to do that, and I'm a big fan of the writer actress Britt Marling. She's stars and helped write that show. So that's called The OA. Then the other answer would be The Matrix. Like, I know it's like a gnarly world, but I just love the characters and the philosophy behind like choosing between the red pill and the blue pill, choosing between like knowing what the truth is in life or just like staying asleep. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. I've actually heard of that red pill, blue pill thing. So yeah, I kind of dig that dystopian world vibe that you like.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna jump into some of the questions that I have for you. In terms of music, do you ever get anxious before performing? And if it's not performing, what makes you anxious and what does it look like and feel for you?
Yeah, and also wanted to say earlier you said something really thoughtful, because like some people have trouble talking about mental health or anxiety. I think I'm wired differently in that I get really excited to talk about it, because I think it's just really necessary, and it's not anything like to be ashamed of. It's just such a normal process of human life. But I do get anxious. Like, I get anxious before all live streams. I get anxious before Zooms. So before this, I had to like get into a place where I could acknowledge that I have anxiety, but also then just breathe through it. So, and in terms of like just live shows, I've had some moments of extreme anxiety. Go get interviewed by Michael Moore, and I'm a fan, and so I was backstage and my heart was racing so intensely, and I was starting to get into this space where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to control my body, like I'm shaking. So then I did square breathing, where I like inhale for like, I think I did, because I was so nervous, I inhaled for 8 counts and I held my breath for 10 and I exhaled for 10, just to like and then I do it all over again. And that helped me stay as calm as possible. But once I'm on stage and once the action is happening, the anxiety dissipates and there's actually a really like giving energy.
Oh, that's an awesome answer. And going back to what you said about just how you feel comfortable about anxiety, I know like a lot of us, especially like both of us being Asian, like we're kind of taught to not accept those feelings of anxiousness, and mental health isn't really a topic that's really discussed. So I think just all of us growing, I like how we're sorry, I'm like not articulating this well.
Oh no, you're doing great.
Just getting more comfortable with the topic of mental health is really important, and I'm really excited to see that you are comfortable with that and you almost like talking about it, which is really cool because it makes everyone else comfortable too.
That's the goal. Yeah. And I can echo you in that with like my family, immediate family and extended. Like mental health is a really new concept, and the idea of therapy is so misunderstood. I recently had a family member tell me that, you know, they didn't want to go to therapy because they didn't want the therapist to force them to change and appease others. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's not what therapy is. So it's really interesting. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to educate our community of like AAPI people on what therapy actually is, especially our parents' generation.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was gonna say.
All good.
I had something that I was gonna say that was really important. I hope you cut this out.
It'll come back.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Okay. How you were talking about when you got anxious meeting that person. I think it's so interesting how we're all human beings and we just get anxious to speak to each other and meet each other, and it's like we all feel anxious, and it's like we're just all human beings, and it just feels weird that we get so nervous around each other. Like I'm even nervous talking to you right now, and I like how you talked about how you kind of got anxious before the Zoom call.
Yeah.
I appreciate how you can be really vulnerable.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing too. I used to not know how to articulate like what you just did, and so it would just sit inside me, and I'd be like, okay, just make yourself look comfortable, you know. And now I try this thing where I just name it to tame it. Just say it out loud. Like tomorrow, I have a writing session with a producer I really admire, and I have all these imposter syndrome thoughts, and I'm anxious. But if it feels like it's gonna be intense that way when I walk into the studio or when we meet in our session, then I can just name it, because I'm sure it could, you know, we just all want to be around real people, you know. I always feel better when I'm around people who are just like not so composed and just who they are, because it gives me permission.
For sure. That was very well put.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think we're all aware that being anxious is a human emotion we all feel, but anxiety can definitely elevate that reaction in our bodies and start to head towards more dangerous territory. It's going to be very different for everyone. So I'm just curious as to how you feel about your own anxiety. So if we think about it like this, how would you describe anxiety as if it was a person standing in your room? Like some people might say that their anxiety monster is very frail and just being like, oh no, you can't do it. Or like they might think of it as an aggressive person that's just pushing down on them. So what do you think your anxiety monster would look like?
I was gonna joke and say, well, she has blonde hair, she's Asian, she likes wearing black hats, and she looks exactly like me. I'm just kidding. I would say that mine is really critical, like, you know, like a really strict disappointed parent, like that type of vibe. So it's a pushing down and type of energy. And when I feel it, it's like a tightness in my neck and a heat in my chest. And it's a lot of heady energy. Like it's a lot of thoughts. You know, our brains are really useful for some aspects of our life. And I do think we live in a culture that over worships the brain, and I think living more in our gut and our hearts is more of an enjoyable experience, and we can use a brain when we need, but overthinking and all of that type of stuff, that's like, I feel this like fog and this static at the same time when I feel anxious too, in the brain.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm sure the pressure around performing can be really daunting. And then, like you said earlier, just meeting people that you look up to. So what is one thing you have that keeps you grounded or hopeful? So is it music, songwriting? What does this thing do for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. Music is my way of accessing catharsis and hope, and you know, just the piano. When I sit at a piano and start playing, immediately I hear melodies, so I start singing. The other thing that gives me hope is that, you know, in 2017, my song Quiet went viral at the Women's March, and it was a song about my own personal journey of healing from trauma and abuse. It was very personal to me, and I was healing what I needed to heal in my art. And I didn't realize at that point that that's the recipe for connection. When artists desire to connect, they just need to put the healing they desire for themselves into their work. And so that song went viral. And then I got an influx of emails of people telling me their stories of survival. And I just was able to see that my desire to heal from my pain immediately connected me with a global audience. And I knew that I was no longer alone, because I felt a lot like a black sheep when I was younger. And when that happened, it just felt really reaffirming. And so that gives me hope, is not that I went viral, it's the hope that humans are actually designed to turn painful things into something with passion, power, purpose.
Yeah, that's an amazing answer. And especially when like artists are, like how you said that you present your art through healing, and by doing that you're actually letting your audience feel vulnerable too, and they feel that connection with you. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, doing that. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So that's, I was just gonna say that's really awesome how that heals for you, but it also benefits us too.
Yeah, it's like we're all so connected and designed to be part of this web, you know, and like when one of us is well, we are able to heal our circles of communities, and then when we heal others, those people become well and they'll heal the other circles of communities they are part of. So healing is viral in many senses. I was also gonna say, like, recently I've been doing this new thing, especially during quarantine, because a lot of artists we're not performing and traveling, and so we're coming up with new ways of connecting with audiences. And so I started doing this like breathing and music fusion, like a musitation. And recently I wrote one called I Belong, and it's like the verses like talking about how I'm doing the most to prove that I am worth being here. But then I realized I don't need to prove any of that. I belong. And recently I was in a session with, again, like artists that I really look up to, have known about for years. And I had to like step away and like breathe and like sing the mantra that I wrote. And I was like, I belong here. And like I had to step away and do that and like recenter and go back into the room. So Yeah, it takes a lot of like help from external tools that we can use to help us get through moments like that.
No, that's awesome. You are very well spoken, and I just want to say I really admire you for that.
Oh, thank you, Haley.
And then also I just wanted to bring up, like, aside from music and songwriting for you, like, that's what keeps you grounded. I also noticed that you like to give back. So I just recently watched a video about you talking about your In December We Remember program, and I thought that was really awesome. I noticed that you participate in a lot of programs that give back to Indigenous, Black, POC communities, and I think that's awesome that you use your musical talent to raise awareness and give back, and also using your pain to project healing art that helps others too. And I just want to say that I really admire that.
Makes me feel seen. Thank you.
Yeah. And so I've already like taken a look at your Instagram and saw that you are doing a lot of this work from home, but I just want to give you a chance to like talk about what you do to the audience. So how are you doing what keeps you grounded at home, like the music and singing?
I am showing up every day. It's a new, like this past month, I have checked myself with my anxiety or procrastination and just rededicated myself to just showing up at the piano and seeing what happens and not judging whatever comes out. Because I think one of the things that kind of incited this an earlier phase of procrastination was that I was putting a lot of pressure and expectation on what was going to happen. And every time I sat down, I was like, okay, well then I want to make this into a song and finish it. But then I took that away and just said, just show up and just play. Even if you play and you write half a song or nothing at all, that's been really joyful for me. It's been really playful. And then like playing more guitar and being outside in the back patio. And this is something that like my friend taught me too. Like I have a couple friends in my life who are really good at making sure their surroundings feel like their soul. So like these blankets are new, these quilts, like I use those to absorb sound, but like I wanted that kind of like cozy quilt like feeling. And I want like my back patio, we put up twinkle lights and stuff just to like create a little hub of joy so that I want to create. And that has been really important, is like we deserve to take time to make our surroundings reflect who we are inside, and we also deserve to change it when we feel like we're changing. And it makes a really big difference on a creative process. I think artists, half our job is to create the space so that the art can show up.
Amazing answer. Like seriously, I don't know how you do it. Yeah, so just
I'm feeding off your awesome energy too. Like it's just like this back and forth. So
all right, awesome. Just in the interest of saving time, thank you so much for your insightful answers, and thank you so much for your time. It's really good to hear from someone who has gone through such vulnerable experiences and also is comfortable with sharing that with us.
my pleasure.
Yeah, so if there's nothing else you'd like to add, I think that concludes our time today. Thank you so much again. I hope you're safe.
Thank you. Yeah, you too. I had a great time, and it's really good to know you. Oh, and then I was curious. It's like I didn't even ask her about her movie. What movie would you want to live in?
You know, I didn't even think of an answer, to be honest. I would say like for like a TV show. This is such a basic answer, but I'd probably say like Gossip Girl, because they just live such luxurious lives, and it's like, how do you guys live like that? I mean, I would be in Gossip Girl without the drama. I would just be in the back,
just living your best life.
It's
in New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you visited New York before?
Yes, it is awesome. I'm not sure if I would live there because I've only been there for like, I only visited for like a week, so I don't know what it's like to live there, but it seems pretty awesome. And from what Netflix shows, it's pretty fun. So
yeah, it's a good city.
Yeah. All right. awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much again. So nice meeting you.
Yeah, really nice.
Breathe in 2, 3, 4 and hold 2, 3, 4. Breathe out 2, 3, 4 and hold 2, 3. Keep going. Hold. I belong. Exhale and hold. I belong here. Inhale. Hold. I belong. Exhale. Keep it going. I belong here. I've been doing the most, out of breath just to show that I deserve to be here too. But what I'm growing to know is that I've always been home. There's nothing more for me to prove. Keep breathing. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. I belong. Exhale and hold. I belong here. Inhale. Hold. I belong. Exhale. I belong.